Okay, so today we're going to be working with different types of brushes, right? And all their effects, along with the blending modes. So Photoshop has 27 different blending modes, and I'll show you how to use them each different type of way, because you could do it here while you're creating your paintbrush, right? Or you could use it over here once it's done, but we'll go through that. So here I created a diagonal stripe, right? I was feeling this would look really great on like an open, loose kind of knit, right? So I just pulled this in for your reference. You guys don't need to do this, but this is how I would send things to the factory. I would have my artwork or layout here. Once we get into patterns, I'll show you how to do the repeats and all of that, but right now we're just working on the color board. So I would let them know what the layout is. I would have to pick each color in this and give them color chips, and then I would let them know what style it's getting used in. I picked this piece because it's nice and flowy and it has open work and texture, and I just feel like it would look really pretty with this kind of diagonal, very soft stripe. I could see it with like white pants and a tank top for spring 2024. So you could see over here, I have my color story, right? Remember, I pulled it in and I have a reference for it for spring 2024 from Pitti Filati. So I want you guys to name your source. You don't have to use every color in the color box or what you brought in, but I would like you to create your own folder, right? So I use that to work over here and create the stripe. Now let's click on Artboard 1. I'm going to use Lynn's Sneak Tip over there to create another board. Now I'm doing this so I could show you what I did, right? So here, we're going to be working in Artboard 4. I'm going to add a layer to it, right? Now, I'm going to add a layer. There we go. It's the right size now. And I'm going to do paint fill, right? So before I hit paint fill, look what color I have down there. I don't want to fill it with yellow. I want my background to be like a nice soft gray. So let's fill it with that. That's my background, right? Then I went into my paintbrush. So I want each one of these to be a layer, right? So let's pick another layer. I picked a paintbrush. Let's make sure, there we go. See this? That gave me the effect. I could play with the size, right? And I can also play with each blending mode. So the first one, I'm going to try dissolve, right? That seems a little big, so let's do that way. And I want to make sure I'm using the right color. And I'm going to try my first stripe, right? So do I like that? I think I do. Well, I'm going to keep that. Now, what I did, I kept playing around with different types to get the exact effect I wanted. So let's just say you don't like it or you want to switch it up. Do you see over here, I could now kind of play around with that as well. And then it shows you all the different types, right? We could color dodge it. That kind of looks cool. So that takes all of the color out. Then we can do a linear dodge, change it to a light color. You can't see it out at all. Overlay, soft light. I kind of like the hard light, so I'm going to keep it like that, right? Then the next thing I'm going to do is to do another stripe. And we can also play around with occupancy, so let's try that. See how I got that overlay effect where the purple got darker where the gray was? That was because I changed the occupancy of the brush. So here, I'm going to go in, and I like this one, right? And I'm going to play around with the size to get it the way that I want it. And then I'm going to pick another color. Let's choose the purple, right? Now, I don't want the dissolve again. I don't like that. So let's undo brush and let's pick something different. I'm going to do normal, but you see I'm going to change the occupancy. So now maybe that stripe is just too big. If I don't like it, I'm going to edit it, and then I'm going to try it again. I like that. I'm going to keep that. Now, I'm going to kind of go through and keep creating my stripe. Here, maybe I want to change, that might look cool. And then I'm going to change the occupancy so it kind of keeps that color. And let's see what saturation does. Maybe I want to do yellow now. See how I get that effect that goes over that color? I think that kind of looks cool. That is because I'm making it transparent, so it's picking up the color that I'm drawing over, right? So every time you do a different color or a stripe, let's add on another layer box. Now, what color do you think we should try next? I don't like that one as much. Let's see what happens when we use that and we use our green, right? We're on a new layer. Now look how huge that paintbrush is. I'm going to make that a little smaller, right? And let's see what happens with another effect. Luminosity, let's try that. Oh, that's kind of cool, right? I like that. I'm going to leave that like that. Now, maybe I want to bring in my pink color, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to use my brush. I kind of like that, but maybe I want to make it a little thinner this time, right? And maybe we'll change hue and not make it transparent. Oops, what did I forget to do? Edit, undo. I didn't change my color. There we go. So see how it paints differently every time you pick a different mode? Now, let's say I don't like the spacing between that. I could pick my move, And I could change that. Right? I kind of like that. Then maybe I want to keep the gray space there, but I want to have an effect. So I'm going to do that. And let's say I want to change it a little darker. So it's darker than my ground color. I could double click on that box to change it, right? And then I'm going to add another layer. Before I paint, I'm going to hit my brush tool. Maybe we want to just have a little effect. Let's try this one. Now that is huge. So I'm going to change the effect of that. And let's do vivid light. Let's see what that comes up with. Right, I have my dark color. Now, let's move it to see if I like that. I think it's too spotty. I'm not in love with it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to delete it. Now, maybe I want to brush that is a little more solid. See how small that is? I'm going to change that. Now look, it's backed to my color, so I want to make that a little darker, right? So I'm going to go there. And that is really too big. So what am I going to do? Delete it. Let's make that smaller. I think I'm going to try that instead. So I like that effect. I'm going to leave it. Maybe I want to move it down a little bit, or I'm going to keep it like that. Alright, so this is what I want you to do. Play around, create some kind of stripe. It could be diagonal, it could be vertical, it could be on the bias that I did. Or you can even create a pattern with shapes. I just want you to play around with the brushes. So I'd like to see a minimum of 6 different types of brushes and then 6 different types of layers, right? And don't forget that when you're painting, you have to select the mode that you want, but if you click over here in your layers, right, see how I'm highlighted here? You can change it and do whatever you want to do there. Oh, you know what? I like the color burn even better. See how when you just play around with things, and then maybe you want to start your stripe over again. Alright, so minimum of 6 different brushes and a minimum of 6 different blending techniques. I'd like to see your final board. You don't need 2 like I do, so this would be my final board with my print. Right, you guys don't need to add the style. I just added that so you could visualize. And your color research along with your color folder, which is named. All right? If you have any questions, please reach out. Have a great week.